Hi YouTube.
Hey YouTube friends and family, it's your boy GB Reviews, and today I'm doing another cooking slash review video of Home Chef meals. This one is the Caprese steak strip mini flatbread sandwich, or not sandwich, but flatbreads, just so you can see that. We're gonna go through step-by-step instructions. I'll show you the ingredients. I'll show you, this one is actually a pretty easy one. It takes about 15 minutes to do. It's gonna take a little bit longer because we're gonna walk you through it. But, and then I'll show you how you can actually spice up the meal by adding, you know, every one of the meals from Home Chef, they're customizable. But I will show you how you can customize your own meals. I'll show you the ingredients. Again, remember, there's a referral link below in the description, so you can actually get, I think, $30 or $35 off your first meal order. And the meals, again, are all organic. The ingredients are fresh, as you can see, fresh ingredients, but I'll show you that too. And they're pretty straightforward. And you will use this time that you are kind of stuck in your house to become better at something. And why not be cooking? Cooking will save you money. And it's kind of, it releases those endorphins that make you just feel better. So with that, let's get at it. So looking at our ingredients, basically what you have in your box is you have one Roma tomato. This is what comes in the box. So you have one Roma tomato. You have 4 mini non-flatbreads, which is kind of cool. The Stonefire, I love these. You have your sliced beef. You have your, let you see it, but this is the basil pesto that goes on top of the flatbread. They give you marinara sauce, and then you have crushed pepper flakes. So all of those come in the box. And then we talked about customizing. I like things spicier. So we're gonna use one jalapeno pepper, and we're gonna use one habanero Scotch bonnet pepper. So, but you can adjust your meals how you need to, but we're gonna do it this way. And I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna walk you through the steps of what you need to do when setup. The setup is like super easy. And I think that this meal is something that you can do quickly. You can whip this up for the kids. And again, what I told you about the Home Chef meals, what I like is that they give you these nice recipe cards, right? And on the recipe cards, you can do this yourself at any time. So you don't need to get the ingredients from Home Chef. Once you have the recipe card, you can go to the store, especially when times are normal, buy your ingredients, and you're good to go. So with that, we're gonna get at kind of preparing our ingredients and cooking up our food. So let's go. All right, YouTube friends and family. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna dice all our stuff. The one ingredient I forgot to show you because it's just in the refrigerator, I was trying to keep it cold, was the mozzarella cheese that they send you. But we're gonna dice our tomatoes because all of this stuff that I'm dicing right now, we're gonna dice and we're gonna put in with our meat when it's cooking. So the meat doesn't take long to cook. I'm preheating my oven right now, so just so you know, we're gonna do the flatbreads on broil. So you wanna make sure you prepare your oven beforehand. Again, all of that stuff is the stuff that takes time when you're doing this stuff. And the tomato, just like before, we're gonna cut it in half. So we're preparing all our products now. We're gonna cut the tomato in half. Remember, sharp knife, safe knife. We're gonna cut our tomato in half. And then we're gonna core it. Because you don't want all of that. I mean, I core it off screen, but you don't really need the seeds and things like that when you're cooking it up with your steak. So we're gonna core the tomato. And then you're gonna dice it in, you're gonna dice it into kind of 1/2 inch strips. So we're gonna slice it first. And then we're gonna just make strips. 1/2 inch strips. And then, cut that in half. Do the other half. And I think it's probably about time I sharpen my knife again. It's still sharp, but it's not. The thing is, like, the thing that dulls your knife is not cutting through vegetables. It's cutting when it reaches the cutting board. The cutting board has a little bit of give, but it actually wears the blade down. And then remember what we did with the peppers. So you want to cut your peppers lengthwise if you decide to use peppers. And then you want to pull out the seeds. So what I do is I just and get the ribs out. So you just run your knife across it. You want to get the kind of the ribs of the peppers out. Run it across. We're going to use pepper flakes anyway, so you don't really need to use these seeds. I mean, you can though, because we're going to use pepper flakes anyway. You can use the seeds here, but because they're connected to when you're pulling the insides of your peppers out. So when you're pulling this out, you can use some of the seeds. So I'm actually going to put some of the seeds in my bowl because I want kind of the jalapeno taste. We're using red pepper seeds or red pepper flakes, which are dried seeds. But I'm going to use some of the seeds when I cook my my steak because I like the heat of jalapenos and of habaneros. So, and then you're going to cut once we get the ribs. They call them the ribs. This part, the white parts of the inside of peppers, the part that's just actually not very tasty. Once you get that out, we're going to cut this into strips as well. So we're gonna do, again, half-inch strips. And, oh, the other thing, when you're working with live peppers versus like pepper flakes and things like that, make sure you wash your hands and your counters after you, and your cutting board after you're preparing it, because remember the capsaicin from the peppers will have a residual heat, or they leave the capsaicin on your cutting board and your counter, so you want to make sure you rinse that off. And so we're cutting into half-inch strips, and then I think I'm actually going to just dice them some more. I want them to be small. So again, like I said, you can modify them. We're going to just toss these in the bowl. Once we get everything done, we're going to toss them in the bowl, because all this stuff is actually going to go in with when we cook our steak. So for the tomatoes, it's not so bad because when you start cooking the tomatoes, they actually cook down. But for the peppers, if you have like long strips in your peppers, it might not fit on your flatbread. And again, the thing to remember when you're working with peppers is, like, I have a cut on my hand and the capsaicin has gotten into the cut and it is burning right now. So note to self, don't work with peppers when you have cuts on your hands, because not a good look for your boy GB. The last pepper that we're gonna cut is this one. It's the habanero / Scotch bonnet pepper. These peppers are on the Scoville scale. They're actually on the hotter side. These can run up to 250,000 on the Scoville scale. I am gonna cut this in half. Well, actually, let's pull out the seeds first. I'm not sure I don't want to use the seeds, because the seeds for the habaneros, Scotch bonnets, they're hot, and I think it'll make my flatbreads a little too hot. So once you've cut up all your peppers, we put them in the bowl. Now we want to drain our meat. And so when you drain the meat, because we're gonna go straight into cooking after this, you just want to cut the edge and you want to drain this out. Actually, remember I told you one of the things you want to use is, I always forget to put this on the cutting board, but you want butcher shears, just because it just makes it so easy to cut everything. And then you're gonna drain the meat. We're gonna drain it over your sink. And then once you've drained it, you're gonna pull it out, and it's already cut into strips. I do love the way that Home Chef sends the meat already. We're gonna pat this dry, but they send the meat already. So see how I'm patting this dry? you don't really need to do anything else. You want to just get that excess like liquid off of your meat, put it back on the cutting board. And I'm actually gonna probably pat it dry again, just because I like, when you put your meat in your, when you put it in the frying pan, it's gonna draw a certain amount of liquid anyway. So you might as well get as much of it off. And then I'm gonna show you what it looks like in terms of like the strips that it comes in. So if you look at this meat, it already comes kind of like in strips. See how it's like that? These are the strips that it comes in. And we're just gonna cook this up. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna move over to the cooking section. You're gonna get a frying pan, non-stick preferably, medium-high heat. And we are going to put 2 tablespoons of oil in there. And actually, I think I'm gonna use the Pam olive oil cooking spray and not, I mean, I have real olive oil too, but I think for me, my non-stick pan, as I say, is not, it's only non-stick when you clean it, which is kind of weird. It'll stick when you're cooking, and that just, for me, it sucks. And then so you're gonna cook this meat. I'm gonna tell you right now so that I can fast forward through some of the other stuff. You're gonna cook this meat for 4 to 6 minutes first before we add, and you're gonna cook that with the tomatoes and the pepper, the real pepper. You're gonna cook that because we're gonna get this cooked down. And then for the last, so 4 to 6 minutes first, and then for the last 1 to 2 minutes, we're going to, we're gonna go and we're gonna put in the marinara sauce and the actual pepper flakes. And so that'll cook up for 1 to 2 minutes. And then by that time, we will be almost ready. Now, while you're doing all of that, we wanna par bake the flatbreads. So what you wanna do is you wanna place the flatbreads on a, baking sheet that I've already prepared. You wanna set your oven to broil, and you are going to put under the hot broiler for 1 to 2 minutes. You basically want to look, and you want your flatbreads to start to get brown on the, you want to get brown on one side. So that means that the whole side is going to get kind of a brownish edge to them. They should not be cooking up. So they're going to have a brownish edge. And you got to make sure you pay attention to it, because depending on your broiler temperature, it could burn it. So just make sure you pay attention to that. And then that's only for 1 to 2 minutes. And then we'll continue, and I'll tell you what you need to do after that in the last part of the preparation. So let's move to the stove. All right, so as I said, we're gonna prepare this medium-high heat. And what I like to use is Pam cooking spray. So you're gonna, if you use regular olive oil, you wanna make sure that the olive oil is not, burning. So you want it hot. So I always start it off on hot, really high, just to get it heated quickly, and then I adjust so that. And so when you're using Pam cooking spray, you're just gonna start to look for the whiteness of the Pam cooking spray to disappear, and then if you notice, it's slowly disappearing. And then I'm gonna spray a little bit more. And then we're gonna adjust the heat. We're gonna make the heat, I told you, medium high. And while we're cooking this up, I'm not gonna say anything because we're gonna fast forward through this part so you don't have to watch this in real time. But I just want you to know, and then I'll start talking again once I get to the point where I'm adding other ingredients. So starting off, we're gonna put it on medium-high heat. We're gonna add in our vegetables. Now remember, this is gonna cook for 3 to 4 minutes, so I am not gonna talk anymore, and we're gonna just go through this part quickly. So. Now we're back to talking. We are now adding in our next set of ingredients. We're adding in our marinara sauce, and we're gonna add in our pepper flakes. So you're gonna put your marinara sauce in here, and you're gonna mix that in, and you're gonna mix in the pepper flakes. And again, remember I told you these Home Chef containers are actually nice containers. They're like almost like pill bottles, and you can use them for storing like different ingredients that you have around the kitchen that you're using for cooking. Really, I think the purpose of this program is to make you a better home cook. But it's nice because they give you the ingredients, and like I said, during this time period that we're living in, it is just an amazing opportunity to just become better at a skill. Now, for this step right here, we're gonna cook this for 1 to 2 minutes. I'm probably gonna cook it for 2 minutes because I wanna make sure that I reduce some of the liquid that's in here. So we're gonna turn the heat down a little bit because I don't need it to cook that high. The heat is still, remember, medium-high heat. And while you're doing this, remember I put my flatbreads in the oven to toast, basically to toast them on broil, but I wanna make sure that they're not burning. So I'm gonna pull them out probably within the next minute. And you're just gonna let this cook for another minute, and then we're gonna be done with that. The step that I didn't tell you that you should do is just make sure you salt and pepper anything that you make to taste. So you can salt and pepper it how you need to. For me, my go-to is a spicy Montreal seasoning for steak. And this is like a pepper salt mix. I think it's time to pull out my flatbreads. And again, you can see how they cooked up. Now this is done, so our next step is we're gonna assemble the flatbread. So turn the heat off and let's go. All right, so the next step in the process is to assemble the flatbreads. So now, you know that we toasted them, they just came out of the oven. What you wanna do is you wanna take them from this side, you wanna flip it to this side. This is gonna be your top now. So you're gonna flip them all over. And then all of my ingredients, my kind of meat concoction is in the bowl. I have my cheese. And basically what we're doing now is we're just topping the flatbread. So you're assembling your flatbreads. You're gonna put this marinara mixture on the top. We wanna try to evenly distribute it as much as possible. So we are assembling them. So I would say go through and do one round with all of your flatbreads first, just so that you can make sure that your meat is evenly distributed. And then on your pan, because we're gonna put this back in the oven, you left your oven on broil. We're gonna put this back on. So we're topping this. We're filling this out. And again, I apologize, the noise. We are, some essential workers are doing, their construction jobs. And so they're getting a lot of work done that they normally wouldn't get done, or at least I wouldn't know about it because I normally wouldn't be home during the day. So, so we've assembled that. Flatbreads are done. Now we have to cheese them. Remember, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but remember, it's not easy being cheesy. So I cut the top of this with my cutting shears, and you don't want the mozzarella to come out too quickly, because the thing is, right, you want to get as much mozzarella on the flatbreads as possible, and not a lot of mozzarella on the tray, if that makes sense. And then we're gonna put these back in the oven with the broil on, probably for 1 minute, because my broiler is actually just on fire. All right, so we're moving back to the oven. We're gonna put these in the oven for 1 minute, and then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna show you how everything looks plated. So let's move to the oven. So now our cheese is melted, and the last step of the of what we're trying to do is you can see that our cheese is melted properly. The last step is the basil and pesto process. And so you want to mix it because it may have become separated from the oil in the pesto. And we're just going to take a little bit of the pesto. A little bit of the pesto. And a little bit of the pesto. We're going to save some pesto for the other one that I have. You notice only 3 on the plate. That's just because my plate's not large enough. And I want to get all that pesto off. And that's it. Now we're gonna take a few pictures from the top and then we'll taste it and see how this meal turned out. All right, so we made the flatbreads, we plated it with the pesto, and now the last piece is to, actually we're gonna taste it. And so, oh. That's really good. Again, nothing beats having the freshness of the ingredients that they send you, but again, if you have access to a store that you can get fresh ingredients, I would say do that. But if you don't, they send you everything that you need to be successful. The steak tastes fresh, the pesto and basil is nice, the mozzarella cheese tastes super creamy and delicious. The fact that I added extra peppers to this and the pepper flakes, I can feel a little bit of the heat back in my throat. Again, this is, so far I've enjoyed all the meals from Home Chef, AKA Tiny Chef, no, Home Chef. I have to say that, that so far I'm not disappointed. I think if you are inclined to do meals at home, you want to be a better cook, you want to learn how to make different things. And remember, they send you these recipe cards with a recipe book, so you can make any of these things at any time. It is in your best interest to join and get Home Chef. So that being said, there's a referral link in the bottom if you want to sign up. You get $35 off or $30 off, 35, I don't know. But please hit that like button if you like this video. Please let me know if you tried it and your experience with it. Please also hit the subscribe button because I want you to be a member of the kind of GB Reviews family. Right now I'm doing food stuff because I'm stuck in the house. I like cooking. My family likes cooking. But, you know, I do cars, I do travel stuff, I do all kind of things. So just to kind of give you an overview of what my channel is all about. And then please leave a comment below. And so with that, I'm out. Subscribe and like below. Peace.
Subscribe right below.
Subscribe and like below. Peace.